Welcome back to another episode of the Pursuit of Progress podcast. Ben, I want to hear your best Pursuit of Progress podcast intro, bro.
The Pursuit of Progress podcast, starring Adam Lang and Benjamin Adams.
Yeah, I think Mortgage World doesn't pan out for you. I think you've got a future in the Hollywood doing the voiceover.
It's always been a dream, actually. So, who knows? We'll see.
That doesn't surprise me. Okay. Well, guys, welcome back. We're just doing a quicker episode today. Just going to chat a little bit more on the topic we were discussing last week on just health and the benefits of working out, not just physically looking better at, when you're looking at yourself in the mirror, getting ready for the day, but also just all of the other dominoes that fall behind that are positive things with working out. So I know, Ben, you've had a lot of success with just additional benefits to working out outside of just your six-pack abs that you flaunt occasionally.
Yeah, and you know what? That's contagious because guess who else has six-pack abs? My daughter.
She has an 8-pack, actually, doesn't she?
Yeah, and if you've never seen her abs, I mean, it is like Batwoman or Wonder Woman abs. I mean, she has people have come up to me and said like they have never seen a kid with abs as defined as hers. I mean, she is that ripped, and that's one of my reasons that that's another reason that another benefit of going to the gym. That's really what I would call an intangible benefit is the example that I'm setting for my family. Both of my kids see me going to the gym every single morning. They see how important that is to me. They see how in shape I am. I run in the evenings. I go to the gym in the mornings. And guess what? That wears off on them. So just by being in close proximity to me, they are picking up and developing some of my habits. And now, especially my daughter, she really enjoys going to the gym and she loves working out. She works out on her own. She does an ab workout actually every single morning before school. Gets up and does like crunches, sit-ups, and like this whole circuit that she does. But then she goes to the gym with her mom. She'll go to the gym with me sometimes. She runs. She's just very, very serious. And a lot of that just started because of the example that I am setting for my family.
Love it, man. It's very inspiring. Hopefully some other people that are listening that have families can take note of that and maybe apply some of that themselves.
Yeah. And how about yourself? What's one big takeaway that's, a little more intangible, one of those intangible benefits of going to the gym?
Yeah, I would say definitely just the word confidence. And I say that with a spin on it. So confidence in two forms, both just feeling better about yourself, especially we were talked in the last episode about for us, we do a early morning workout, which really sets the tone for the day. It's a small but consistent win on a daily basis that really guides us for the rest of the day to staying productive and getting more done than we would if we weren't, starting off in that fashion. But also just as a business owner, as an entrepreneur, for me, just in the real estate space and trying to network and just really rub off the right way on my sphere of influence, people that I'm surrounding myself with, just showing them that I'm prioritizing this and I'm consistent with this, regardless of what I look like. It's also just, subtly telling them that, hey, I have a very strong set of skills when it comes to being consistent, and that can not only apply to working out, but it can also apply to being their real estate agent or helping them with whatever it is that I'm trying to add value and help them with. It just gives them this confidence that yes, I am capable of taking on whatever they need me to. So it's confidence not just internally for myself, but also I'm kind of portraying myself in a way that's giving others confidence in me.
That is such a great point, and I agree with you 100%. I think one of the things that a lot of people really struggle with is consistency. And I'm not talking about going to the gym, I'm talking about consistency with anything. But if you can develop the skill of getting up early every single day when you don't want to, going to the gym at a time that you really don't want to, which is at 6 a.m., that you're there reporting to the gym at 6 a.m., and you're doing that day after day after day, well, you are building out the skill of consistency and discipline. And if you can do it with something like this, that's very difficult as far as, getting up at that hour, making the 30-minute drive, when it's pitch dark out. Well, guess what? You're going to be able to develop consistencies in other areas of your life. You're going to be able to build that momentum. And I agree 100%. And I love that you mentioned that, because it's developing these skills. And that's what I always tell my kids about sports and about athletics. I want you to go pursue something, whether it's running, swimming, golf, and really go after that with everything that you have, because that is going to teach you the skill of how to pursue things in your life as you get older. And if you develop that stuff now, it'll serve you later in life.
And the idea of giving it 100%, one thing I wanted to share on this episode, maybe this can even be the title of the episode, is just 4 words: be comfortable being uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And just really leaning into that and realizing that if it's not making you uncomfortable, you're either not pushing yourself, or whatever it is you're doing is probably not in the right alignment with your goals. Just having your goal be big enough, having the task that you're doing be big enough and daunting enough where you're uncomfortable doing it. And over time, the consistency will give you the ability to start being comfortable being in that place.
There's a medical term for what you're describing there, and it's called psychological flexibility, where you develop the mindset and the skill where you get comfortable consistently being uncomfortable. And the only way that you can start to do that is by making yourself uncomfortable. And, kind of how one way that we paraphrase that is by, if you've heard the expression, getting thicker skin. And in the real estate world, the mortgage world, especially the short-term vacation world, I'll tell you, with like the short-term vacation rentals, man, there is always something going wrong. There is always a problem. There's always something going wrong. When I first got into that business, I would get so overwhelmed with like one thing, and it would like ruin my night or my evening. And now it's just like another Friday night or Saturday. It doesn't even faze me, because I have developed the skill of being psychologically flexible to where I am now comfortable being uncomfortable. And same thing, you can develop that in these other areas of your life as well.
And there's so much value in building that ability in one area. For example, getting up at 5 a.m. every morning and going to the gym and prioritizing that and doing it every day, regardless of you not wanting to do it. But that comfort level that you are in being uncomfortable, that applies to everything else you're doing for the rest of the day. So at noon, when you get a call that didn't go the way you wanted, or like you're saying, you have some vacation rental issue that comes up in the evening, you've already set your tone for your day, and you're already proving to yourself that you are able to overcome those, and it's not the end of the world. And you just have such a different mindset, glass half full versus half empty type, just ability.
Now, I'd be interested to get your perspective on this next topic that I'm going to talk about here, about one of those intangible benefits of going to the gym. And for me, I have heard it come up, but I definitely don't hear it come up as much. And to me, it's mental health. Like, I think going to the gym and working out, I feel like it's even healthier for my mental health than it is for my physical health.
100%.
I feel so just energized, relieved. It is incredible stress reducer. It gives me clarity. It gives me a sense of peace. And I just feel like it's so good for my mental health. And there's been times like, last episode you were mentioning going on vacation, and there are some people that when they go on vacation and they don't work out. And I used to be that way. But what I found is that if I didn't work out for like a week, man, up here, I would just start to go crazy. I would just not feel as good. I wouldn't feel as energized. I'd be more irritable. So for me, working out, like it brings me so much peace mentally.
100%, man. And I will use even yesterday for an example. We had a pretty big snowstorm this weekend. So yesterday, Saturday, I did not go to the gym, and I slept in until almost 9 o'clock. And the entire rest of the day I was just a little off, just not depressed, but just kind of lethargic, less motivated. I definitely did not get nearly as much accomplished and done as I would in a typical day when I've started my day on the right note.
Hmm.
It's just crazy how much little things like this can, setting the tone correctly at the beginning of your day, how much value there is in that. And that goes to our topic in the last episode too, about just why we always choose the mornings for our workouts. Some
Yeah.
people, I understand, if you just can't do that, as long as you're still being consistent, that's fine. But there's definitely an additional benefit to the morning specifically with exercise and just starting the day off on the right note.
Hmm.
Yep. I think for me too, just getting on the weekends still some sort of consistency, which is just on a personal note, just what I'm struggling with a little bit right now is, we work out Monday through Friday every single morning. The alarm goes off. I'm up. I'm committed. I go to the gym. Saturday and Sunday come around and I kind of just lose my little extra edge where I sleep
Yeah.
in. And it's okay. Your body needs rest. You need to sleep in sometimes. But it's just crazy, though, how on the weekends I lose so much just because of this one thing that I'm not doing, which is my morning, gym routine.
Yeah, and I typically will get into the gym at least one day on the weekends. I don't know if you know that or not, but typically I do go Sunday, like Sunday afternoons or evenings. But I would agree with that 1,000%. And I think that I would like to get to a place where I'm getting up at the same time of day and going to bed at the same time of day, 7 days a week. That's been something I have literally never done my entire life, where I've
Mm-hmm.
gone to bed and gotten up at the exact same time. I've done it like Monday through Friday, but then typically on the weekends I'll sleep in, and I want to be able to, I guess the way that I would describe it is I want to have total power and control over every area of my life. And I feel like if I am allowing external circumstances to have some influence over me, whatever it is, then I'm releasing some of that power. And so to be able to do that, though, there are sacrifices that you have to make. There's things that you have to give up, and a lot of times it means that I'm probably not going to be able to like stay up as late on a Friday night and maybe watch that movie. Just be a little bit more disciplined with my time. It doesn't mean that the time's not there. It just means I need to be more efficient and disciplined with how I use that. So that's one of my personal things that I'm working on here in the first quarter of 2024. I haven't been able to do it yet. I've had, I got sick this past weekend and some other things, but it's something that I am working towards.
If you guys are entrepreneurs or just have a side hustle going, or you're just trying to, improve in a certain area of your life, not having such a definitive, reason for it being the weekend, don't have this mindset of, oh, it's Saturday and Sunday, so I don't need to work. I don't need to do any of this stuff that I'm doing Monday through Friday. So many people are committed and dedicated with their diets, with their exercise, all these things Monday through Friday. And then on the weekends, they just completely go off the rails. They drink, 8 or 10 drinks Saturday night and hung over on Sunday morning and don't exercise and eat like crap all day. And they just, it's that 2 steps forward, 1 step back type mentality where you're
Yeah,
not going to see nearly the results as if you are just following more of a consistency on a daily basis, 7 days a week, not just five.
I know. And what's so interesting, I have seen a lot of those changes in my own life, and a lot of those started with going to the gym at 6 a.m. every day with you. I'm just going to share some of the things how my life has changed the last like 5 years. So now, I go to the gym every single weekday at 6 a.m. with you as my accountability partner. I have now completely given up alcohol. I do not drink at all. I've not had a sip of alcohol in over 2.5 years, coming up on 3 years. I got rid of TV. I don't watch TV. I don't have a TV subscription. I don't have cable. I never ever watch TV. I used to be the guy who would come home from work, turn the news on. I would watch college football, pro football all day long, Saturday and Sunday. I used to spend dozens of hours a week watching TV. Now, none. I mean, I literally never watch TV ever. I don't do any substances of any kind. I have given up caffeine. I don't do caffeine. I mean, I don't. I'll have coffee, but it's decaf. I don't. I don't drink things that have caffeine. Those are the things that have been cut out of my life, and then I've replaced those with healthy things. And so now I read every single day. I have a time in the morning that I read, and I have a time in the evening that I read. My morning time is some type of self improvement, some new skill, language, how to communicate, parenting, some type of self help. The evening is more of my entertainment, but it's still self help. It's a biography of someone who is very successful. Right now, I'm reading Sam Walton's biography, and that's my entertainment, but it's still incredibly valuable. And so what's happened is, this gym routine has prompted all of these other positive changes in my life. And my daily habits and actions, my daily life is so different than what an average day looked like 6 years ago, compared to now. And I would say the person that I am is completely different as well.
Yeah, you talk about Sam Walton. If you just interviewed, or there's a lot of books that even already have done this. Tim Ferriss has one. I know. There's just basically just these people that have interviewed the top 100 wealthiest people in the country, or the top 500 most successful business people, and the one or two just consistent things that every single person practically has. One of those is definitely prioritizing their health,
Hmm.
because healthy body, healthy mind, and just understanding that you might be able to go 5 years at the most, I would think, maybe a year or two, maybe 5 years living an unhealthy lifestyle. But at some point, if you're in this for the long haul and you want
Yeah.
to have a successful career, you want to build out something that's going to last you 20 plus years, you need to have some of these physical characteristics dialed in. Otherwise, you're going to fizzle out, and it's just not going to be a long-term solution by any means.
Yeah, that's right. And, we all have our own version of what that is. And it's not just physical health, it's physical health, mental health, family health, spiritual health, relation health. Sam Walton, for example, do you know what he had two activities that he did. One he did every day, and the second he did multiple times a week. Can you guess what either one of those were?
I'm just going to maybe say meditation, but I don't know.
Some form of exercise.
Yep.
Tennis. He was a
Oh, okay.
tennis player.
Okay.
And so he literally played tennis every day at lunch. And so during his lunch break, he would leave the Walmart headquarters. He had a tennis court at his house, and he would have some partner that would meet him every single day at his house at noon. They would play tennis for about 90 minutes every single day. And then about 4 or 5 days a week, he would get out and go hunting with his dogs. And so those were his two forms of exercise. So when he was hunting with his dogs, out in the Arkansas or Missouri hills, he was literally kind of just running around the prairie, up and down these hills looking for different types of birds and hunting. And so that's what it was for him. But it was something that he was very intentional about, and he did that right up until his death, when he was, I think, like 73 or 74. So I mean, he was still playing tennis every single day up until about a year before his death.
That's awesome. I did not know that. Yeah, I mean, I've noticed if I don't, not as much necessarily with the weight training in the mornings, but even just my drinking enough water a day, and
Yeah.
also just my nutrition, my diet, eating meals every 2 to 3 hours, just staying a little bit more consistent with that, just being able to be so much more productive in the hours that you're working. These very successful people, a lot of them have been very upfront and open about, they don't work more than 40 hours a week. You don't have to absolutely crush it and kill yourself working 60 hours a week to get ahead in life. It's
Yeah.
what you do with the hours that you're working and how productive you are in that time. And I think that having, again, a healthy body and a healthy mind just allows you to stay focused for those periods of time, way, way, way more productive during those times, and just so much more efficient.
Yeah, if you're focusing on the right things too, and I
Hmm.
mean, if you're focusing on the right things, you're working on your business, not just in your business. You're working on your family, not just in your family. Um, 40 hours a week is more than enough, but we've been indoctrinated by our American culture that we need to go work a certain way and a certain number of hours, and we need to be exhausted. And we need the weekends to completely recover or party or go live it up. And it doesn't have to be that way. Of course, do I love Fridays? Yes. Fridays are fun because, we do have the weekend, and weekends are fun for me, not because I'm going to go out and party, because I can go to Starbucks and read my book for 2 hours. Because I can go to bed early and get up early Saturday morning and have a very efficient, productive weekend. And that's empowering. And then just learning to say no to some of those things, as I was mentioning earlier. So, learning to say no to the alcohol, learning to say no to the caffeine. These are things that I felt that I needed in the past. And what I realized is that, the place that I was coming from, when I felt that I needed these things, I was really giving them some of my power. I was giving like my power away to these things. I felt I needed, this alcohol, or I needed this caffeine. And now that I've been able to reclaim that, I have never felt so empowered in my entire life.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, I definitely need to do a caffeine cleanse. That's one crutch that I have that I have that I need to be a little bit better about.
Mm-hmm.
I think we should definitely have one of our next episodes be focused just on the point you just made about learning to say no, and how valuable that is as a skill in and of itself, with just understanding that concept, and how important that is when you are focusing on just spending a limited amount of time a day on your work, a limited amount of time on your family, just having these little buckets of where you're putting your energy and your time into, and realizing that that's a finite amount of time that you have. So only focusing your time on stuff that's going to move the needle and is actually going to serve you, and not just be this, waste of time.
Did you ever watch that Jim Carrey movie? I think it was called Yes Man, or it was
Yeah, it rings a bell.
You remember what I'm saying?
I remember that. It rings a bell, kind of. I do remember
and
it.
he had to say yes he went to a seminar, and the seminar was yes. And so for like the next 6 months, he had to say yes to every single thing, proposition, question. And so it was a funny movie to watch. But to your point, the reality is that for people that are very intentional, very successful, and live that way, the reality is it's not yes, it's no most of the time. It's learning to say no. It's learning to say, no, I don't have time, or this doesn't fit into my schedule. It doesn't fit into my goals. And that's just the reality. It's not saying yes to things. A lot of times it's saying no to things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we'll definitely do an episode on that. I think there's a ton of good value we can bring up about that. Mm-hmm. Cool, guys. Well, I think that should do it for this one. Really appreciate your time, Ben, and excited to just kind of see how our personal goals for 2024 continue to practice what we preach. I think
that's right.
Just getting a little bit of motivation myself, just listening to some of the stuff we've been talking about today. So
that's right. You know what? I want you to hold me accountable.
Right back at you, man.
Yeah.
All right, cool, guys. Well, really appreciate your time today. And as always, this is The Pursuit.
The pursuit of progress.
Hope you guys have a good week. Stay productive. Reach out if you guys have any questions or you want to connect with us. We'd love to connect with you and see if there's any ways we can provide value to help you along with this journey. Later.